Hi all, welcome to the Marquee Matchups for the 24th of October. Quite a lot to cover in this, and the theme is lots of leagues have duplicates. So like 2 or 3 games in the respective leagues. This is the theme for next week. So we can smash the links, would be awesome. Sub to the channel if you're new. Follow me on Twitter at @GIsALegend. All the links are down below for both the channel and social media links as always. And all the games are down in the description below as always. We scored 3 out of 4 this week. We didn't talk about Bordeaux and 89, that was like a 6 for us I think, but we didn't feel it was going to be an option they would go for. So first option is El Clasico. This is Barcelona, Real Madrid, and obviously from this perspective we've obviously got Atletico Madrid Valencia just now, but we felt it should still be mentioned regardless. So from a Barcelona view we have thrown in Sergio Roberto, Real Madrid view it is Valverde. If you want to prepare with either team, then from a Barcelona view Sergio Roberto would be your highest that you prepare for, but in reality you wouldn't. This is where you would probably expect them to go 1 or 2 players from each team. They would try and make this a very expensive one, but because we've just had La Liga I can't see this featuring as much, but I thought I'd at least start with it and kind of break it down to at least say that we are aware of it. But like Real Madrid buys Valverde will be the most common buy. Barcelona you're probably looking at more in the, everyone's probably going to go like Sergio Roberto. Sadly it is kind of sad and a shame, but it is what it is. Turkey has Galatasaray versus Beşiktaş. Both teams not performing to their capacity this season so far. Is the Istanbul derby. And from a Beşiktaş view you could go Tyler Boyd, you could go Lalic, which is why we've thrown a couple options in. From a Galatasaray view you've got quite a few to work with in terms of midfield, especially defenders. You can go like Aziz is Fenerbahce even, but you could go like Muslera, so you'd find yourself fairly sorted. I think between Galatasaray and Beşiktaş I actually had quite a few, but I've not put as many as I probably should have. But I would say at least prepare an all gold squad from the Turkish league view. Italy has 2 strong options this week in the form of Roma and Milan, which is like top tier teams if you want to call it in the league, and then the derby of central Italy, which is Fiorentina versus Lazio. If they're going to pick one, I think they're going to go with Roma and Milan. Fiorentina Lazio is quite common. Well, saying that, Fiorentina Lazio is probably the one they would go for because everyone would assume Roma and Milan. From a Fiorentina perspective, you could go Cristoforo. Obviously, in an ideal world, you'd hope Ribery was in, but then he might be like 82, 83, so then you're kind of struggling a little bit. Lazio view, Radu, Proto are going to be the most common players that you'll see. Berisha is another one, Luis Felipe, the Brazilian centre back, Marusic, Salcido. So you've got plenty in that mid-tier, like lower end mid-tier goals from a Lazio view. Fiorentina's got ample to work with really in all honesty as well. Like Cristoforo's quite good because of his nation, so that kind of gives you that option. Chinese Super League has Beijing Guoan and Tianjin Teda, and then your second game is Beijing Renhe versus Tianjin Quanjin. If I probably butchered them I completely apologise. I should have just said the Beijing squad and Tianjin squad because it's basically different options, but respectively I would imagine this could be the type of one where they would do like minimum silvers or like silver players, exactly like minimum silver players, minimum gold. So my suggestion, if you're a fan, go with bronze pack method, rinse that for a bit, try and get a few of these players, and that's why I've got quite a few of them in. And like Leonardo, Alan Carvalho play for the Teda team, and then obviously Beijing Guoan you've got like Ronaldo Augusto, the right centre back. Then Beijing Renhe is Augusto Fernandez if it's a gold. I wouldn't imagine this would be a rated squad. This would end up just being a like various like bronzes that you can throw in. EFL is Swansea Cardiff, very strong shout of happening. I actually think this could be one of the small routes this week. Swansea playing well, Cardiff not quite firing on all cylinders, and obviously with Cardiff just recently relegated in the summer and Swansea in their second or third season in the Championship, that they will want to kind of get back into the Premiership. Swansea wise, I've noticed players like Borja Baston are quite expensive. IU's starting to creep up already, but these are just, I think, because they're used already in like SBCs, so keep aware of that. Bishart Salina is another one that Swansea players may opt for. Cardiff, you've got Bamba, Etheridge, so you've got a couple of golds to work with, because we don't quite know where they could go. If they could go like a minimum overall rating, they could go a minimum like bronzes, silvers, rares. That's who we've got 3 rares thrown in just for good measure, because they like their rares for options. Russia, Lokomotiv and Spartak Moscow. Now this one I don't see them doing, for the simple reason that because the Russian league is not the full league anymore, that they don't seem to feel too strongly about it. Like from a Spartak view, you could look at Gijo, the French centre back. He's very common. Ponce is another one. Lokomotiv is like Adair, João Mario, those type of players. Till's another one for Spartak Moscow. But realistically, would I say they could go here? I'd like to say yes, but at the same time I still feel it's a no, because there's plenty they're given inform from the league. They gave Kacharwick for enough one, so they may lean towards it, but I'd at least prepare for it. As long as you've got the golds, get the silvers, there's not much in the league to work with, and in terms of this would easily be a 3 or 4 league, so I would prepare a few of the, like maybe the Portuguese players in particular, maybe go João Mario, Adair and maybe Gijo, and build like a hybrid round of like 3 or 4 leagues. Now the last set of options that I'm going to talk about is 3 options in Holland. We've got Heerenveen versus Groningen, which is the first option, Willem versus Waalwijk, and then the last option, which is the most likely, which is Ajax versus Feyenoord, which I would say will strongly happen. I would say prepare all 3 regardless. I would at least build this is why I always like to build a team that's built off the link, because then you can be prepared for all eventualities. And if the SBC was to require not even like say it could say like 2 or 3 Eredivisie players, but there's no league requirement or same league requirement, then you can easily just build a straightforward all Eredivisie squad. Just saves you hassle with chem. Yes, it might be a little bit more expensive, but if you've got all the players just in your squad, in your club already, and all you have to do is put chemistry in, then you, relying on loyalty or whatever already, then you're kind of sorted. Ajax, you could look at Bruno Varela, Neres, Van de Beek, even and I mean it like even higher rated end. Then Feyenoord, you've got Jorgensen, Berghuis, Tapia. Quite a healthy amount to work with. Even in terms of general goals, you've got like Mitroglou, Stengs, Idrissi, Majiso, Svensson, Bottigan. He also plays for Feyenoord. Zoet, Vermeer, those type of players. And we threw in a Groningen player, the goalkeeper, so that kind of at least shows that we're changing up. Heerenveen, I think I had a couple sitting in the club, but I didn't throw everyone in from it, because you never know where they might opt to go with it, of course. In terms of other games that may feature, Liverpool Spurs is unlikely, because obviously Liverpool currently feature in this one. And we've got an Irish derby between Derry City even and Finn Harps. Then we've got Hamburg Stuttgart, Elfsborg Gothenburg, QPR Brentford, then a Polish derby, Polish top 2 even, Al-Hilal versus Al-Nassr, which is a Riyadh derby, Orleans and Berrichon in France, Wanderers, the Sydney derby, then Exeter, Plymouth, and then Schalke Dortmund, but that's obviously next week, and Dortmund's currently in the Marquee Matchups. So, as I said, everything is in the description as always, and I forgot, please in Slavia Prague. But as I said, all the games will be down in the description below. As I said, there's tons and tons of games, but I thought because a lot of these bigger leagues had 2 or 3, I thought give these the precedent, and then I'd thought at least break down some of the individual players and where to go from there. So let me know, folks, in the comments down below, from these games, which ones do you kind of rate, which ones do you not rate from happening, and hopefully you can get yourself prepared. At least remember, Selling Hype latest is Thursday 4pm. Smash likes always, sub to channel for new, follow me on Twitter, G's a legend, and I'll catch you all later.